In this preview, I'm going to go ahead and fly another leg of the Mysteries of the Abandoned series. This time we're going to fly Budapest. I've been wanting to fly Budapest for a while. When you see photographs of it, it looks really beautiful, so I've been wanting to fly that for a while. But there's a couple Mysteries of the Abandoned locations. Again, these are the season and episode numbers for the Mysteries of the Abandoned on the Science Channel. So if you want to see the segment on each one of these, that's the episode. And then the POI numbers are just points of interest that I found in World Map, and there's a bunch of them. One of the recent world updates, I think, was this whole portion of the world. So there's a whole bunch of points of interest that I actually didn't expect in the general area. And then the flight plan flies up the Danube to Bratislava, and then there's some castles ending up in Pistani. There's castles all along here. There were so many that I had to get pretty picky. These are ruined castles, and some of them, I don't remember which now, but there were some pretty big ones. Here's one. Oh, this looked like it was probably an abbey or a church, but there's also, well, this one's pretty close to our flight path, so we can probably check this out on the way by. But you can see it's a ruin, but I mean, it's a pretty substantial ruin. I imagine that's going to show up, certainly shows up on the satellite, so there's no reason why Flight Simulator won't at least try to render it. What are these? Oh, those are just windmills. It's a 175-mile route from Budapest to Bratislava and then ultimately to Pistani Airport. And I'm flying the X-Cub. I'd probably fly something a little bit faster, but the X-Cub's just so convenient for doing the video. So let's go ahead and fly it. Well, I've been doing a lot of racing lately, so I've gotten used to the cockpit map down in the lower right here. I've also left my radiuses on. I turned off the lap timer because I don't need to time anything, but I kind of like my radiuses. If you haven't seen the racing video, these are 500-foot radius and 1,000-foot radius, just to help give you an idea of how close you are to points on the ground. Probably zoom in pretty close. That might be too close. The other thing about cockpit map I don't usually point out is even with it here, I can actually get to my instruments behind it. So I don't know that there's any pressing need to turn my landing lights on and off, but it allows you to click through it. If I'm not making a video, I usually fly with the transparency about halfway, but I'll leave it all the way up for this flight. Actually, we just need to get over these hills, and I think we're, Kelenfold power station is only 5 miles away. It was really ornate, as I recall. I think the claim to fame of the Kelenfold power station is that it's Art Deco style, so I guess that's early 1900s, maybe pre-World War I. Should be right along the Danube there. Oh, we got a stadium across the river as well. I'm gonna guess that's it right there with the smokestacks. That's pretty good considering that's just the game. I don't think anybody's come in and tweaked it. And I think it's, here we can see there's bound to be some imagery for that, you'd think. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. Yeah, so there's our Kelenfold power plant. And you really got to watch the episode, the control room, I guess. It's amazing. There's Budapest itself, sat up on the hill there. Looks like some kind of monument. Citadel, Citadella. Well, that's pretty cool too. That's a pretty fancy building down there as well, I guess. Oh, with pools and stuff. Right here. I mean, that has to have a name. I guess that's Citadel Kilato, and that's probably the, well, I'm not going to butcher that, but I guess that was the castle at the foot of the hill. Oh, I see, and there's the statue. Okay, so basically the whole thing is a castle, or was. Based on what I found on the map, Slovenia and Hungary can give Wales a run for their money on castles because they seem to be everywhere. Like I said, I had to be picky about which ones I put on the route just because it was already 175 miles. I had to draw the line somewhere. Abandoned rail yard next. Mystery of the abandoned location. But that's a good find. You can see the statue and everything. And then what's this down here? I think this is like the Hungarian Parliament, maybe? I bet they didn't really do that one justice. Yeah, they should give the Parliament, give it a little bit of love. There's definitely a lot to see in Budapest. Looks like there's a basilica or a cathedral over there. Let's go ahead and find our rail museum, and then I think we have to fly back over Budapest anyway. Oh, we're supposed to be flying that way anyhow. Oh, there's our stadium. Got a peek at the field, don't we? Oh, well, that was kind of disappointing. They need green grass, or the team logo. So the Red Star Railroad Graveyard. Well, that's it. There's even rail cars on the ground. Those are clearly passenger trains. That's pretty good. Again, considering just that that's from the satellite with no help. You can even see the doors on all the passenger cars. That's pretty cool. There was also a circular building over here I was curious about across the street. Oh, I think that's part of the same deal. I think that's a carousel where all the trains would come, they'd turn them around and then send them off on another track or another route. I think I remember that from the episode. You'll have to take a look at season 4, episode 6, and you'll probably have to watch the whole episode because it's segment 4. But yeah, I think that's what that was. Is it was a carousel basically where they would roll the trains on and then spin them around. The ORFK Tower, which I'm gonna guess is the tower up in the hills there off our nose. There's some kind of pretty substantial plant over there, giant smokestack. I'm sure that's our ORFK Tower. I guess that's probably a TV station maybe, or a radio station. But that's their tower right there. Okay, so that was a point of interest. That was a world map point of interest. Visegrad Citadel, the next one is also a POI number, so that's another world map point of interest. I'm going to take a wild guess before I look at the map that our citadel's right up there on the hill overlooking the town. That's where I would put a citadel. And the lovely little town of Visegrad. So that's what a citadel looks like. Looks like they did a pretty good job to me. Gotta be imagery for that, right? Oh yeah. I think actually the one in Flight Simulator's in better shape, maybe. Alright, well that was Visegrad Citadel and was definitely super cool. And now we're headed to Estergomi, and there's a castle and a basilica right next to each other. Basically the same grounds, it looked like. I'm gonna bet that's Estergomi, at least the town. So that's Estergomi Basilica on this side, I believe, the giant building with the columns, and then sort of tucked behind it, I think that's Estergomi Castle. I guess perched there on the edge. So that's worth the price of admission. Wonder if we can find the bell collection. So I guess that lower portion is what they consider the castle. And Tata Castle, or Tata Castle, I'm not sure about the correct pronunciation, but that's next in 17 miles. It's a long flight plan total, so it's like 175 miles, but so far it hasn't been more than, more than 15, or I don't even think there's been a leg that's been more than 20 miles without something to see. Yeah, it looks like Castle Tata here is just on the other side of those hills in front of us. Well, that looks like a fun little resort town. And that looks to be Tata or Tata Castle right there on the edge. Oh, we got drone footage. That should be identical. That's pretty darn close. I would definitely call that an A+. So that's Tata Castle. You know, you don't think of Hungary as, someplace you're dying to fly, but the scenery's been pretty gorgeous the whole way, and there's tons of points of interest to see. There's not a whole lot of time spent just flying in a straight line over prairie. And we got the Monostorsky Bridge, suspension bridge it appears. I don't know if that's wide enough for the X-Cub, but I'm not trying it. So that's the Monostorsky Bridge. And then Bratislava is next. It's 45 miles, so this is the longest leg between two waypoints, but it's basically along the Danube. The assumption was, with the river being right here, there's probably going to be stuff to see along the way. I'm going to take a wild guess that that's our Cachite Tower, which is a point of interest on top of that hill there, considering that we are still 12 miles out of Bratislava and pretty distinctly a tower on top of that hill. I'm gonna guess that's it. We'll find out when we get there. And there's Bratislava Castle and Gardens. Yeah, that thing's huge. I'm gonna say that one's pretty well done too. Not that anyone cares what I think. I think we're getting into castle country. As I recall from looking through the map, there were basically castles all through these hills all the way north. We'll see if the Slovakians can give the Welsh a run for their money on castles. And then this next one's just on the other side of the hills is Devon Castle. It was just a Google point of interest, but since it was right on the other side of the hill, I thought might as well check it out and see what we can see. I was pretty picky about the size of the castles that I put on the flight plan. It's a ruin, but it's a pretty substantial one according to the photogrammetry. So that's it, partially rendered as a building. Looks like there's some other ruins further down the hill. See if we can get a closer look. And then our Cachite Tower, which I think we can count on being easy to spot since we spotted it from 10 miles out. Yeah, I can see it peeking over the hill right now. There's our Cachite Tower, broadcast tower, I presume. Oh, we got a stadium, because of course we do. Flight Simulator does love stadiums, don't they? And there's our stadium. That's a pretty nice one for sure. Well, Bratislava is a pretty interesting place. Now again, all these hills to my west, there were basically castles all through them. You know, if you want to zigzag up through the hills, there's more ruins to be seen. If you want to do the treasure hunt thing, there's blue castle markings and historical markings all through these hills. I think some of them did have imagery. Well, I guess our Cervini Carmen Castle's on the other side of this hill. Yeah, it should be in this valley on the other side of the hill here. And I'm gonna bet that's it, above the town there. Oh well, we're not going to be able to go inside today. That's definitely our castle, I'm pretty sure, judging by the fancy grounds and all. Oh, and Plavecki Castle is just on the other side of these hills. Guess there was no point in climbing. Should have just picked my way through. It just looks like satellite imagery on this one. Yeah, just the shadows. Can't have everything. I think this next one is a monument. This next one might be one that I just saw on the... Oh no, it's a point of interest. Cairn of Milan, Rostislav Stevanit. Our monument, or our cairn, whatever that is, should be on this hill, or unless that's the hill itself. Oh no, there's something perched up there. Oh, dude, you could have stepped away from the thing before you take the picture. Holy cow. Alright, it looks like a Mayan pyramid. Yeah, it actually does. It looks a lot like Chichen Itza. That's pretty cool. And I think our airport is just on the other side of that valley there, on the far side by the hills. We'll see, but I think we just hook around the castle and then our airfield's down in the valley there. So for a 175-mile flight, it actually went by pretty quick for me. There's not a whole lot of just flying in a straight line. There's pretty much always something to look at. Turns out Hungary and Slovakia are beautiful. Not any place you just wake up and think, gee, I think I'll go fly Slovakia and Hungary today, but it's a great Saturday or Sunday afternoon flight. Oh wow, so it's actually a ruin that they created a world map point of interest for. You know, I don't recall the Mysteries of the Abandoned episode, unfortunately. I'm sure there's something significant happened here for it to be a point of interest for Microsoft Flight Simulator, as well as be on an episode of Mysteries of the Abandoned, but I don't recall what the story was. Well, that was pretty cool too. No shortage of cool stuff to see on this Mysteries of the Abandoned. There were probably, I don't know, I didn't count the waypoints. There were plenty of points of interest to be found if you're working towards your, what's the achievement? I think where you got to fly by 50 or 100 points of interest within 500 feet and use your little, I forget what button they call it. You're supposed to stare at it with your button. Obviously I don't have that achievement because I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's see, let's check our approach. 1-9, so probably time to head south soon. I think it's basically right along the road here, although that road's not really very straight anyway. Oh, it doesn't get any easier than that. Nice long straight runway. Oh, I'm just about on the glide slope. Looks like the PAPI lights are picking me up. Well, we basically got all day to stop here. In fact, I should have picked an aiming point farther up the runway. Alright, well, welcome to, I don't even know where I am, Pistani Airport. That's the end of our Mysteries of Abandoned flight. I have no idea where I'm going. This one turned out to be more world map point of interest than Mysteries of the Abandoned, but we had a couple interesting Mysteries of the Abandoned locations, including the Cachite Castle, which was also a point of interest, so that was pretty cool. And we'll get a tour of the airport here. I can't find the terminal. Anyway, that's the end of this Mysteries of the Abandoned. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, this flight plan is available to download at simflightplan.com/download. I'll include the link to it in the description box. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.